Hello, and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council's regular meeting for Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. My name is Kim Clark Baskin, and I am the Assistant City Clerk. With us today, we have our sign language interpreter, Caleb Wysocki. The following is a list of legislation for introduction by Pittsburgh City Council. Councilman Anthony Coghill presents Bill number 572. Resolution granting unto Singh Properties, LLC, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a new set of entrance steps at 1900 St. Ives Street, 21st Ward, 6th Council District. Bill number 573. Resolution granting unto Charles and Ann Heil at 204 Kramer Way, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new front porch at 204 Kramer Way, 19th Ward, 2nd Council District. Bill number 574. Resolution granting unto Beth Rogers, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense the ability to install a new deck with an accessible wheelchair ramp at 402 Knox Avenue, 18th Ward, 3rd Council District. Councilman LaBelle presents Bill number 575. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into a grant agreement with Allegheny County for the purpose of receiving coronavirus relief funds in the amount of $6,200,000, which shall be used to reimburse eligible city expenditures. Councilman Corey O'Connor presents Bill number 576. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an access agreement with the Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium for purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 577. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an access agreement with the Cosman Development Company for purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 578. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an access agreement with the Community College of Allegheny County for the purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 587. Resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety to execute relevant grant agreements to receive funding from the Allegheny County Health Department to develop a public health informed diversion program and further providing for expenditures under the terms of said agreements not to exceed $186,512. Councilman Bobby Wilson presents Bill number 579. Resolution amending Resolution number 277 of 2019, effective April 25th, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution amending Resolution number 200, effective March of 2019, providing for an agreement with various community organizations for operational and administrative expenses, maintenance, purchase of equipment, and/or rehabilitation of neighborhood facilities, and for administrative and operational costs, maintenance, purchase of equipment, and/or rehabilitation of neighborhood facilities of various departmental programs and projects for the benefit of the residents of the city of Pittsburgh. Council President Teresa Cal Smith presents Bill number 580, resolution appointing Ms. Allison Hall as a member of the Gender Equity Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Ms. Hall will be replacing Ms. Megan Block, whose term has expired. Bill number 581, resolution appointing Ms. Morgan Overton as a member of the Gender Equity Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Ms. Overton will be replacing Ms. Kathy Elliott, whose term has expired. Bill number 582, resolution appointing Mr. Patrick Bigley as a member of the Ethics Hearing Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2023. Bill number 583, communication from Kevin Paulus, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting and acting pay approval on behalf of Finance for Jennifer Gula per the acting pay policy revised in June 2018. Bill number 584, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb, submitting a performance audit of the Department of Public Works Snow and Ice Control and Street Pothole Maintenance Program dated June 2020, and Bill number 585, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb, submitting a performance audit of the Department of Public Safety's Bureau of Police Secondary Employment dated June 20th, 2020, and Bill number 586. Communication from Michael Lamb, City Controller, submitting the popular annual financial report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2019. That concludes the reading of the legislation up for introduction. Thank you and have a great day.
Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. The first meeting announcement, Council will continue to meet virtually on Tuesdays and Wednesdays until further notice. All meetings will be live streamed on the City Channel's YouTube channel. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Here.
8 members present.
Madam Clerk, I apologize. I'm actually here.
9 members present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. As we join together from our remote locations, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our next order of business is proclamations. We don't have any to be read into the record or any to be read. The next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everybody that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberations, which are or may be before city council. Profanity is not permitted. May we have the first speaker, please? And I have the first speaker as Ian Davis. Ms. Davis?
Good morning,
Good morning.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Because our Lawrenceville resident, Lynn Lewandowski, must be at work this morning, she has allowed me to read her letter to you. I think it's important to add that Lynn and her clan represent 5 generations of the Lewandowski family in Lawrenceville. Lynn writes, I support the nomination of Ewald House and strongly encourage you to vote in favor of this nomination. I am a Lawrenceville native, and this house is part of our family's social history. We called it St. Joe's. It once was home to the American Union of the Polish Brotherhood of St. Joseph, which later was absorbed by the Polish National Alliance. The office located in this building was where my mother worked as a part-time secretary to Mary Gorlewski, who was head of the St. Joseph's Women's Chapter and who also was the 9th Ward Democratic Secretary-Treasurer. This organization, now PNA, helped individuals and families of Polish descent, as well as other nationalities, to navigate red tape for naturalization, to obtain insurance, to secure mortgages, and most importantly, fostered a sense of community in Lawrenceville from the 1950s through the late 1960s. The main floor was home to the offices and used as a meeting hall. The upstairs of the house was also a temporary rental for families and couples just starting out. The main floor rooms hosted Democratic ward meetings, PNA meetings, and many celebrations, christenings, communions, graduation parties, and a few weddings. Having outside space surrounding the building itself was rare and still is in a Lawrenceville property. Many family parties spilled out onto the lawn where we all ran around safely inside the fence. It was a true community space in every sense. Multiple organization offices, event space, and affordable housing. What's old is new again. Unfortunately, it was sold to a series of owners well before the Lawrenceville real estate boom and left to deteriorate for lack of funds and or interest. This home deserves a chance at being restored, loved, and brought back to life. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next speaker, Dixie Timmons.
Thank you. My name is Dixie Timmons. I live on Wallingford Street on the border of Oakland and Shady Side. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. I would like to talk today briefly about the phrase defunding the police. Really? In June, the International Association of Chiefs of Police stated that, quote, defunding the police is misguided. It also said that funding cuts in social and medical welfare often put officers in a untenable position because they are often the only ones left to call to situations where a social worker or mental health professional would have been more appropriate and safer for all involved. Protesters and police agree. In fact, some police have been heard to say they didn't sign up to be a social worker and don't have the training. They know they're stuck handling some things because there is a lack of investment in other approaches and responses. But now some cities are beginning to reduce the scope of police work and have also found that there are some alternative strategies for crime fighting. One study compared different ways for dealing with hotspot crime areas. One strategy, aggressive patrols, including stop and frisk encounters and arrests on misdemeanor charges like drug possessions. Second strategy, social service interventions like mental health help or taking people to shelters. The third strategy involved physical upkeeping, like knocking down vacant buildings, cleaning vacant lots, putting in street lights and video cameras. The most effective in reducing crime, the third strategy. J. Scott Thompson, a former police chief and president of the Police Executive Research Forum, says that these types of investments are crucial to safer, more stable communities. Quote, you clean up a vacant lot and turn it into a playground, and if people feel it's a nice place, they bring their kids there, and then they are outside looking out for one another. They have their eyes on the neighborhood. You have to have that because the police can never be everywhere all the time. End of quote. So, did you know that some of the vacant lots here have already been turned into community gardens? What a transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Next speaker, Ikuhana.
Greetings. My
Greetings.
title is Ikuhana Hal Makina, Grand Ink of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. We are one people, many nations, one people. I would like to read onto the record the Declaration of Independence, as it is very relevant to the times we are in now. When it comes to the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and nature's God entitles them. A decent respect to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impels them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable and unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments, with an S, are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, referring back to the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles as organizing its power in such a form as to them shall most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And I read that onto the record for the sole purpose of making sure that the city of Pittsburgh acknowledges through the Declaration of Independence that there can be more than one government. And is the right and the duty, as it states in the Declaration of Independence, of the people, that if a government becomes destructive of their life, liberty, and pursuit of their happiness, whatever that shall mean to that person, that it is the right and the duty of the people to alter or abolish it. And we have come to a time and a place and space where it is time to alter and or abolish these destructive ways of policy enforcers. You have to remember what your role is, to serve and protect. They must be reminded of these things, and they have already been written and established. So there is a precedent for how things should be governed and how they shall be run. And it is the voice of the people that shall be heard to challenge anyone that stands in the way of our pursuit of our happiness. And I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you. Peace, light, and love.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jill Joyce.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I'm Jill Joyce, and I'm calling on behalf of the Ewalt House nomination. I'm an architect, resident of Lawrenceville since 1985. I have my practice here and have extensive experience in renovation and historic preservation. I've spoken before regarding the integrity of Keith Cochran, the person who nominated the Ewald House for historic nomination. Keith has a real passion for history and architecture, and he sees the value of historic preservation. He and his wife, Mary, both choose to live in a historic house in our historic neighborhood. Keith's only motivation in the Ewald nomination is to preserve a house of unique architectural significance. The main reason he nominated his own house and the Ewald house was to protect them. With historic designations, their house and the Ewald house cannot fall prey to a wrecking ball because the developer sees more value in the land than the historic house that sits on the land. His motivation and our motivation are the same: save a house of significant historical and architectural character. In 2018, the stakeholders prepared and were ready to submit the nomination for the Ewald House. The Ruperts wrote a letter dated November 8th, 2018, written to Lawrenceville stakeholders, Keith Cochran, and copied to Councilperson Gross, stating, and I quote, "The house would not be torn down," end of quote. This letter should be in your files as public record. We believed what Beth and Eric Rupert wrote to us. The stakeholders withdrew the nomination. 1 year later, the situation from the Ruperts' perspective was quite different. Our perspective has never changed. We unwaveringly have seen and still see the Ewald as the next highly worthy property to be approved as historic since last year's designation of Lawrenceville as a National Historic District. This is a grand and unique property. If the house is demolished, the developer will once again try to shoehorn as many new townhouses as they can on the property. The house, we believe, can be economically renovated. I've recently spoken with local developer Bill Barron, and he feels with the climate of the real estate market here, it makes economic sense to renovate the house. You have the power in your vote to do right by everyone. The Ruperts could sell, the preservation-minded buyers could buy, and then developers will do what developers will do, find other dirt to dig. Please enable the Ewald House to achieve its well-deserved historic designation. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we move on to our next order of business, I just want to mention that we will do a moment of silence for Congressman Lewis. We'll do a moment of silence for Congressman Lewis at the end in motions and resolutions, because I thought that maybe some of our council members might want to make some comments, and we'll also recognize the passing of Bob Folt at that time. So with that said, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. Councilman Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you.
One moment, Madam President, we have 3 more speakers.
I'm sorry, I don't have them on this list. You must have sent an updated list. I apologize.
Yeah, I actually sent one this morning. So there's
Okay.
like a
And
Matt
could you call the
Stuckey.
names?
Yeah, Matt Stuckey.
Hello, Council. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes, my name is Matt Stuckey in the 10th Ward. I was calling in today in regards to a couple planning modules that we currently have in front of Council that have been in front of Council for about 6 weeks. 52nd Street and on Duncan, total of 6 units. What I'm calling in for today is just to confirm and reaffirm that we have done everything from an approval standpoint, all zoning, curb cuts, permits. We even have PWSA technical approval on our tap-in drawings at this point. And in order for this approval to make it to Council for the DEP planning module, we went through all other governing bodies to get their approvals in order for it to make it to Council. So I just wanted to call in again just to point out that these delays are extremely detrimental, not only to our business in completing these projects as they're just sitting stagnant, but also the customers that are waiting on moving in. They're currently renting, they're paying not only rent, but now mortgage payments on these new construction homes with no end in sight on when they can actually move and, you know, only have one mortgage moving forward. So that's why I'm calling in today. I just wanted to call in and just, you know, ask for a fair process with this. You know, please sign off on these resolutions so that we can complete these homes for these tax-paying residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Jeanette J.
Hi, This is Janet J. I am calling because I know how many very important issues you are all dealing with right now. And so I regret having to present you with another. I am here because I believe the new Bike Plus plan, as it is currently conceived, will make city bike path streets dangerous rather than safer, especially for children. First, I would like you to know that I'm a strong supporter of climate change solution efforts. Last year, I was selected to do a poster presentation at the National Academy of Sciences about healing climate change. So it distresses me deeply not to be able to support the new Bike Plus plan. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh's plan encourages children to ride on bike path streets, not only on bikes, but on e-scooters, motorized skateboards, and more, saying that this is safe regardless of the age of the children because the traffic, cars, trucks, buses, etc., will be going more slowly. Now, it is one thing to see a lovely family group of parents and children bike riding together. It is very different to see one or more young children riding on their own in the middle of traffic. I would like you to envision living on a Bike Plus plan street. Remember, these streets will be all over the city. And pulling out of your parking area to find an 8-year-old or younger riding a bike in front of you and 2 children on e-scooters or possibly toy hoverboards in back of you as you attempt to drive to work or food shop or wherever. To me, this is very dangerous, yet all of this is allowed, much of it encouraged by Pittsburgh's new Bike Plus plan. Since discussions with DOMI didn't alleviate my concerns about the plan, I did research. The Casebook of Traumatic Injury Prevention reports that children in the 4th to 7th grade exhibit high bike riding activity and high collision rates. I found that bike-friendly cities like Boulder and Portland have been postponing allowing e-scooters on their bike paths because of safety concerns. And I found that most successful bike-friendly cities have done significant community engagement and safety education to make sure that bikers are aware of the rules of the road and the importance of them. They also enforce bike laws. Pittsburgh's Bike Plus plan calls for safety education, but is encouraging everyone to ride on the streets now before it is offering safety training. And the safety training is not required, and there is no enforcement of bike laws here. The new Bike Plus plan is also being rushed through when we are all dealing with a pandemic and major social unrest. I believe it is vital to postpone moving the Bike Plus plan forward until at least next summer. This will give us time, hopefully, to get beyond the pandemic and to find solutions to the bike plan's problems. I believe there are real solutions, but achieving.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Last speaker I have is Carmen Brown.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Good morning, Ms. Brown.
Okay. Burgess, the silly legislation you propose to help strengthen the review board is another lie that you're selling the public. In June, the mayor made it clear that the law, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself, Carmen Brown, 9th Council District. Sorry about that. In June, the mayor made it clear that the state laws preempt the power of a review board to compel officers to participate in investigations. The police union contract with the city of Pittsburgh are binding and cannot be overturned through the referendum process. This is why you do not hear strong pushback from the FOP, because the union knows Burgess is window dressing the silly legislation. The bill that Bruce Kraft introduced to pay DC's consultant $25,000 to assess the use of force made more sense than the lie and deception that Burgess is trying to sell the public now. Burgess, you were totally defeated in 2014 with the last referendum. The Supreme Court ruled a 2012 change in state law permitted the FOP to negotiate an end to the residency requirement, and that the state law supersedes the amendment of Pittsburgh Charter. The other legislation that you propose is echoing legislation that's also signed by the mayor. So this means you're doing nothing of significance. Again, it comes back to Burgess profiting from community trauma. My question to council is, why is members entertaining this strengthening of power from the Citizens Review Board, which is worthless legislation sponsored by Ricky Burgess? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? No other speakers? With that said, we'll move on to the presentation of papers, and we have Reverend Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Reverend. And we have Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Works.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 503, resolution granting unto Crafton Bureau their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense an 18-foot stormwater sewer line and end wall with stormwater outfall into Chartiers Creek at the intersection of Chartiers Avenue and Sycamore Street in the 28th Ward, 2nd Council District. Bill number 572, resolution granting unto Sing Property LLC their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct and maintain and use at their own cost and expense a new set of entrance step at 1900 St. Ives Street in the 21st Ward, 6th Council District. Bill number 573, resolution granting unto Charles and Ann Hale their successors and assign the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new front porch at 204 Kramer Way in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District. Bill number 574, resolution granting unto Beth Rogers their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new deck with an accessible wheelchair ramp at 402 Knox Avenue, 18th Ward, 3rd Council District.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
make a motion to waive Rule 8 on Bills 572, 573, and 574.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
There's also a waiver request for 503.
Oh, I'm sorry, 503 as well.
What is that, Bill?
Second.
That was introduced today.
Is that the one for?
That's the Crafton Bureau.
Okay, and we might actually end up holding that if we don't get some information, so. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bills will appear on tomorrow's standing committee's agenda meeting with Councilman Lavelle. Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Kraus, Chair of Human Resources.
Good morning, Madam President. No new papers.
Good morning. Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 575, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into a grant agreement with Allegheny County for the purpose of receiving coronavirus relief funds in the amount of $6,200,000, which shall be used to reimburse eligible city expenditures.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman.
Motion to waive Rule 8 so Bill 575 can appear on our agenda tomorrow.
We have motions. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approves. Will appear on tomorrow's standing committee's agenda with Councilman Lavelle. Councilman O'Connor, Chair of Public Safety Services.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 576, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the city to enter into an access agreement with Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium for purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 577, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Safety on behalf of the city to enter into an access agreement with the Cosman Development Company for purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 578, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the city to enter into an access agreement with the Community College of Allegheny County for the purposes of a drive-in movie presentation. Bill number 587, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety to execute relevant grant agreement to receive grant funding from Allegheny County Health Department to develop a public health informed diversion program and further providing for expenditures under the term of said agreement not to exceed $186,512.16.
Thank you. Councilman, you have a waiver of Rule
Yeah, I
8?
believe there's a motion to waive the rules.
Okay, for bills 576, 577, 578, and 587.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? No discussion, the bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bills will appear on tomorrow's standing committee's agenda. Thank you, everyone. Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Strasburger presents Bill number 588, resolution amending Resolution 153 of 2019 to clarify the parties that will be entering into a corporation agreement relating to the shared operation and administration of the City of Pittsburgh Child Care Quality Fund.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wilson, Chair of Land Use.
Madam President?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to request that apologies. I wanted to request that 588, that we waive Rule 8 so that 588 appears on tomorrow's agenda. Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Very
Discussion?
brief yes,
Councilman
please,
Brown?
Madam President. Thanks. May I please join as a co-sponsor of the bill?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. We had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill will appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 579, resolution amending Resolution number 277, entitled Resolution Amending Resolution number 200, providing for an agreement with various community organizations for operational administrative expenses, maintenance, purchase of equipment, and/or rehabilitation of neighborhood facilities by amending City Council CDBG unspecified local option line items for correction of the J.D. Edwards number and authorizing a subsequent agreement for operation, administrative expenses, maintenance, purchase of equipment, and/or rehabilitation of neighborhood facilities on behalf of the residents of the city.
Thank you. Councilman Wilson?
Yes. Motion to waive Rule 8 on 579.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have any
Second.
discussion? Thank you, Councilman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The bill will appear on tomorrow's standing committee's agenda. We have a big agenda tomorrow. And myself, Chair of Hearings, I have 3 appointments and 4 communications. Let's take the 3 appointments first, Madam Clerk.
Or we have Council President Kel Smith presents Bill number 580, resolution appointing Ms. Allison Hall as a member of the Gender Equity Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2021. Ms. Hall will be replacing Ms. Megan Block, whose term has expired. Bill number 581, resolution appointing Ms. Morgan Overton as a member of the Gender Equity Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Ms. Overton will be replacing Ms. Kathy Elliott, whose term has expired. Bill number 582, resolution reappointing Mr. Patrick Bigley as a member of the Ethics Hearing Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2023.
You've heard the reading. Is there any, the will of council, say you want to interview or?
Madam President, may I?
Yes, Councilman.
So for the sake of expediency, to have the positions filled, being that we'll be taking our break within, about 7 days or so, council recess, may I offer up a motion to approve so that they can be seated? We always have the option that we could ask them to come in for interview at any time. So my motion would be to approve on Bill 580, 81, and 82, please.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I just want to thank Councilman Cross. I think most of us know a lot of these people being appointed, and I think we'll be in great hands. So thank you for making that motion. With that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So then they're approved. Thank you. And we have 4 communications. Madam Clerk.
Council President also presents Bill number 583, communication from Kevin Paulus, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting an acting pay approval on behalf of Finance for Jennifer Gula for the acting pay policy revised in June of 2018. Bill number 584, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb, submitting a performance audit of the Department of Public Works Snow and Ice Control and Street Pothole Maintenance Program, dated June 2020. Bill number 585, communication from City Controller Michael Lamb, submitting a performance audit of the Department of Public Safety's Bureau of Police Secondary Employment, dated June 2020. Bill number 586, communication from Michael Lamb, City Controller, submitting the popular annual financial report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2019.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to read, receive, and file?
So moved.
A second. Do a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's approved. Thank you. And now we'll move on to unfinished business. And we need a motion to approve Bill 457, Madam Clerk.
Bill 457, resolution appointing Ms. Diamante Walker to serve as a commissioner for the Gender Equity Commission of the city for a term to expire June 30th, 2023.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve in a second?
Yes, motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to say I think this is an amazing appointment. Diamante has been so wonderful for the city of Pittsburgh, and I'm so glad that she's hired here and working full time. And I know she's familiar with my side of the town, so even though she's from the East End, she's doing an amazing job getting to know and familiarizing herself all across the city and with many issues. So I'm looking forward to working with her even further. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Diamante's approved. Thank you. And now we'll move on to the committees for final action. Councilman Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 567, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for July 15, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 447, ordinance directing the Allegheny County Board of Elections to place before the qualified voters of the city at the 2020 November general election a referendum question. Shall the Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter, Article 2 Executive, be amended and supplemented by amending the language and adding new language to sections 229 and 230, and by adding a new section, section 231, to expand the powers of the Independent Citizen Police Review Board to allow the board to carry out its mandate to investigate police misconduct and improve police community relations. Bill number 483, resolution approving a fee schedule presented by the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure for use in the city's permitting and agreements involving small cell facilities. Bill number 506, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with VJ Kapoor, the Kapoor Company, for professional legal services in connection with FOP interest arbitration in an amount not to exceed $35,000. Bill number 507, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Howard J. Woods Jr. and Associates for professional services in connection with PUC litigation and related matters in an amount not to exceed $50,000. Bill number 508, resolution amending resolution number 829, which authorized the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Campbell Durant for professional legal services and expert advice regarding labor matters by increasing the total cost of $35,000 from $305,000 to $340,000. Bill number 509, resolution authorizing the issuing of a warrant in favor of Kirtner and Hefner in an amount not to exceed $11,864.05 for professional legal services and expert advice regarding source of income litigation. Bill number 510, resolution amending resolution number 587, which authorized the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Fox Rothschild LLP for professional consulting and legal services in relation to False Claim Act litigation by increasing the total cost from $45,000 from $235,000 to $280,000. Bill number 511, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor on behalf of the city to enter into a professional services agreement with Coheen Law Group to address a matter of pending telecommunications and cable regulatory litigation at an amount not to exceed $29,000. Bill number 513, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into a professional services agreement with Cousin O'Connor for professional legal services in connection with an employment-related matter for an amount not to exceed $15,000.
You've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills?
Madam President.
Councilman Burgess.
Madam President, I have a substitute by amendment for Bill 0447. And so I'll make the motion first, and then I'll have a brief discussion.
Second.
Listen to the second. Any discussion?
Yes, I've been working with the law department, the police department, the public safety department, and the civilian review board. They are, Beth is on the line if you need to chat with her. Because we don't do this often, I'm just going to walk through as I had to do it this way. I could not do it the way we normally do it, which is mark it up so that you can see the changes. I can't do that because the bill has to be exactly the way it's going to be passed today in order to send it over to the election bureau. So that's why you don't see it marked as normal. The changes are minor, but they're changes I worked with in consultation with the Civilian Police Review Board, the law department, public safety, and the police. Those changes, although minor, still need to be changed, and I didn't get them done until last night. Briefly, it changes the language of the referendum question to be more precisely clear as to what it is we are changing. That's by the law department's comfortability. Second of all, in section 229A, it adds language that says receive all complaints received to the conduct of any sworn member of the police officer to ensure that the CPRB is being notified whenever a misconduct complaint is filed, whether it's filed with OMI or the Commissions of Human Relations, so that they know if something has been filed. The next thing is in consultation with the CPRB and in consultation with the Commission on Human Relations, language was added requiring the CPRB and the Commission on Human Relations to develop together protocols to ensure that both the CPRB and the Commission are investigating the relevant aspects of various complaints under Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, which the City Human Relations Code and Commission on Human Relations are derived from. Police services are a public accommodation, so the issue had to be addressed in the amendment. Last but not least, the final change came at the recommendation of public safety, is simply adding the phrase or to ensure public safety with respect to the department and the Bureau not taking final disciplinary action until the CPRB's report and recommendations are received. That is, if something really happens, like in Minneapolis, where a police officer does something so egregious that the public safety is threatened, they can immediately receive termination, and all of those recommendations have been approved by all the parties. Again, Beth is on the line, and it has been done with the Public Safety Director, the Chief of Police, the Civilian Police Review Board, and the Law Department. I want to just use this moment, because I won't talk much more after this. I want to thank everybody who's participating in this process that we've come, including the mayor and his administration, all of the leaders, Public Safety Director Hithridge, Stubert, the police chief, Kelly Mystic, the solicitor, Beth Pittenger, her solicitor, everyone who worked so hard, and council who have allowed us to move in this process. I think this is really important and will move our city even again a step closer to healing and reconciliation. And so with that, I will decease, but thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Any members?
Madam President, may I just briefly?
Please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in support of the amendments, had an opportunity to speak with the executive director this morning. I know that they have been reviewed by any number of different agencies and their solicitor, and I'm in full agreement with the changes and happy to support today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? Okay, seeing none, bills are now ready for final action.
You have to, before you do
sorry,
that, Madam
that's the
President,
amendment.
you have to approve the amendment.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have we have a second? We had a second, right?
Yep.
Oh, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The bill will, is now amended. Now we'll move on to the bills for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 8, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And now we'll move on to Councilman Coghill, Committee on Public Works.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 568, Report of the Committee on Public Works for July 15, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 484, Ordinance amending Title IV, Public Places and Properties, Article 2, Telecommunications, Chapter 427, Telecommunications Systems in the Right-of-Way, Section 427.03, Definitions in 427.11, Consideration for Right-of-Way Use Agreement to provide for updated definitions and fee structures for wireless small cell facilities. Bill number 500, Resolution authorizing the Director of the Department of Finance on behalf of the city to enter into temporary construction easements in lieu of eminent domain with the owners of certain properties in the 24th Ward of the city adjacent to Quarley Park for landslide remediation work related to public park purposes. Bill number 501, Resolution authorizing the Director of the Department of Finance on behalf of the city to enter into temporary construction easement in lieu of eminent domain with the owners of certain properties in the 19th Ward, known as 1599 Fallowfield Avenue and 1545 Fallowfield Avenue for landslide remediation work related to public roadway purposes. Bill number 502, Resolution granting unto Mark D. Natal their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new retaining wall and fence at Sycamore Street and Red Oak Way in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District. Bill number 531, Ordinance amending the City of Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances at Title IV, Public Places and Property, Article 1, Public Right-of-Way, Chapter 416, Obstruction, Section 416.20, Approval Process for Sidewalk Cafe, including permits and fees, to provide for certain temporary expedited measures for the city sidewalk cafe permit application process.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills?
Just briefly, Madam President.
Councilman.
I had to step away to take a call I've been waiting for. May I please just register aye votes for the committees that were read that I missed? I'd like to vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
So noted.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Madam President, 484, the telecom, is
Yes.
that for the actual $800 fee, or is that? On our,
Madam President, may I?
Please.
I believe the fee was covered under finance and law, and this gives the permission, if you will, for the installation and usage. I believe I have that correctly.
Okay, I believe you're right.
You gotta believe it and trust it. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. Those in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye on all bills, abstain on 484.
Mrs. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye on all bills, no on 484.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
L. Smith, President.
Aye.
On Bill 484, ayes 7, 1 no, 1 abstention. All other bills, ayes 9, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes is finally passed. We'll move on to Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 569, report of the Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for July 15, 2020 with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 555, resolution authorizing the mayor and the Department of City Planning to enter into a professional services agreement with Boone Concepts and or Bloomfield Garfield Corporation to coordinate a program of responsive temporary art by local artists for temporary display on city-owned structures in the public realm at a cost not to exceed $5,000.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes is finally passed. And now we move on to Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Councilwoman Strasburger presents Bill number 570, report of the Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management for July 15, 2020 with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 505, resolution authorizing the mayor and the city solicitor to enter into an agreement with SciComm Data Systems for professional services relating to continuing maintenance, support, and upgrades to the city law, the Department of Law's legal case management and administrative support software system at a cost not to exceed $11,376. Bill number 515, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into a 3-year contract with SRE granting uncapped citywide access to SRE's product for all departments to build and maintain a city authoritative system of record, make data-driven decisions, share information across departments, perform advanced analytical and share information with the public to meet the needs of the city at a sum not to exceed $600,000. Bill number 516, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into startup participation agreements with selected entities as a part of the 6th cohort of PHG Lab, and further authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into program participation agreements with local municipal entities to allow such entities to test products and services as part through PGH Lab.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Councilwoman Deborah Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs.
Madam President,
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 571, report of the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs for July 15, 2020 with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 564, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the URA HACP, Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Officer, and 327NN LLC.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills?
Madam President.
Councilman,
Yes, I want to again make a motion for substitution for Bill 2020-0564. Let me make the motion first and I'll explain it.
Second.
Second.
On behalf of the URA, I'm adding inactive various clause. It doesn't change the bill at all. There's a phrase in the whereas clauses that adds various local, that the URA plans to allocate various local and federal funding sources, including HUD home funds and HODAG repayment funds, among others. That's all. It's just one phrase in the whereas clauses. And so the URA asked for that, and so I am complying.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Those in favor of the passage of the amendment?
I'm sorry, that was, I'll second the motion.
I'm sorry. Second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did.
All right, the bills are amended. Now, all in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Cal Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
The bills have received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Thanks, everyone, for bearing with me through that. Now we'll move on to motions and resolutions. And before we do our meeting announcements, I'd like to offer a moment of silence for Congressman Lewis, civil rights leader who passed away at the age of 80. And I don't know if other members would like to say something first before we move on to the moment of silence. And we'll also have a moment of silence for Bob Full, Chief Bob Full, who helped create the 911 system. So would any members like to say anything?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I would say a couple things. I hope that I'd like for us to add also in memory Reverend C.T. Vivian, who also was a leader in the civil rights movement.
Yes. Yes.
I was blessed to have as a mentor, a friend of mine was a minister named Y.T. Walker, pastor of the Canaan Baptist Church in Harlem, New York, and he tried to bring me to New York to be on his staff, was my friend, and worked with Dr. Martin Luther King in the movement and talked about these giants to me and all the giants and told me stories of their march. In particular, though, the thing that I think is most notable about Congressman Lewis was his great willingness to forgive. And I've been thinking about that over and over and over again, you know, even as they hit him on the bridge and beat him. And later, members of the Klan came to his office and asked for his forgiveness. Since I am going through something very similar, it has really resonated with me. You know, that I understand that those present day racists still live. They are still doing those same techniques, although often hidden, and that I am, as a minister of the gospel, we are duty bound to forgive them, even in their cowardness. I am duty bound to forgive them. And so this has had great impact on me over the last few days, that I am willing to follow in their footsteps, to continue the fight for African American, because that's what this is all about. I am willing to continue to struggle until, because we've learned that institutional racism did not end in the 60s. We're facing it today, and our city and our council is still polluted by that virus. And I am willing to be the subject of its anger, because the need of the people I represent and care about is greater than the need of the individual. So I am certainly both Reverend C.T. Vivian and John Lewis. I heard a newscaster talk about it yesterday, that they never gave up the torch, right? They didn't pass the torch on. They kept going. And that's, I think that's right. You keep going, right? You empower other people, but you keep going. You don't let anything stop you. And I've been really inspired by that in the last few days. I will not stop. And I think that's right. And so, yeah, we are grateful for their leadership, and those of us who are behind them, we keep fighting.
Any other members? Okay, seeing none, can we have a moment of silence for Congressman Lewis and for Bob Fole, and I can't mention a third person.
Reverend C.T. Reverend Vivian Lewis.
Thank you. Okay, moment of silence.
C.T. Vivian, I said it wrong. C.T. Vivian, sorry. Reverend C.T. Vivian. Oh, God.
Okay, and now with that said, we're going to have some meeting announcements. Council will hold interviews tomorrow morning, Wednesday, July 22nd at 9:30 with appointees to the Gender Equity Commission, Ethics Hearing Board, and the Commission on Human Relations. Also, council will hold a cablecast public hearing tonight and Wednesday, July 22nd, both at 6 p.m. on policing in Pittsburgh, police reform and budgeting. And I want to say, this is your chance to speak. A lot of people are talking and sending us messages. We only had 16 registered speakers, which is a lot, but it was a Saturday, and we would hope that we would get a lot more, because we want to hear from all sides, but we're hearing quietly from one side and loudly from another. So this is your chance to speak. So with that, we'll say that you can register to speak at these hearings. Oh, we'll hold a cablecast public hearing tomorrow. Okay, I said that. Okay. To register to speak, you can contact the clerk's office at 412-255-2138 by 4:30 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. You may also submit written testimony by email to City Clerk's office at pittsburghpa.gov. And a lot of people are sending them to us individually. If you want them to be read into the record and to be official record, you have to send them to the City Clerk's office at pittsburghpa.gov. Council will also hold a cablecast post agenda relative to policing in Pittsburgh, the police reform and budgeting on Monday, July 27th at 10 a.m. and we will be joined by the FOP at that time. Also, council's recess is scheduled to begin next Wednesday, July 29th, and will end Thursday, August 20th. And we will hold a regular legislative meeting on Friday, August 21st at 10 a.m. Do we have anything from the members? Nothing? So can we have a motion to excuse any absent members, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Have a good day, everyone. Be safe.